Okay, so we're going to take a look at filling out this progress sheet. There are two important things on the progress sheet that we're going to be interested in. One of them is just tracking your scores. So, on the bottom portion here of the progress sheet, you're going to keep track of your progress from each of the practice tests. So, we scored the pre test yesterday. That's going to be your practice test one. Your raw score we calculated, and then we converted that to a scale score. And so, ideally, as we go throughout this course, your scores are going to bump up a little bit each time because we're going to review content and we're going to review some test taking strategies. So that's just for you to keep track of your work. Up on the top portion here of the progress sheet is for you to include information about any colleges or universities that you might be interested in applying to. And so you may actually not want to use this particular section of the sheet because there's not a ton of room. Maybe you have other things that you're interested in. And maybe you just want to use a sheet of notebook paper or create a Google Doc or a Word document where you can keep track of this information. But what you need to do is identify at least two colleges or universities that you're interested in attending or applying to and fill out at the bare minimum the information that's here. So, what's the name of the college or university? What's the SAT math score? And then include whether or not that's the average or requirement. Like some schools might say you have to have at least this score to be considered for admittance, whereas others might just report the average SAT score. Something else that sometimes happens is that you may not have a separate math and English score. So if it's not separated, you can just give the overall score and maybe just say that that's the score and then total next to it. And then over here for additional notes, is there anything else that is interesting about that school or noteworthy for you? Like how much scholarship money do they give? Or how much does it cost on average? Do they have a GPA requirement? Do they accept AP credits if that's something that applies to you? So again, if this isn't enough space for you, definitely, like I said, you can just open up a Google Doc or you can write down on a piece of paper at least two schools that you're interested in with that information. And you're going to go ahead and you're going to use this Big Future website to do so. So I did provide you with a link in the work for the week. You can go here. It's through the College Board. If you sign yourself in up here, then you're actually able to save colleges to your preference list. So that might be something that you want to consider doing. And you just sign into the College Board with the same account that you use when you register for things like the SATs, PSATs, and so on. So if you have no idea where you want to go to school, you can use this left-hand side where you can just search for colleges. And if I open this up, it's going to allow me to search by several different criteria. I can sort by test scores. I can select location. I can, maybe if I know what I want to major in, select by major. So lots of different choices here if you really don't have an idea of what college or university you may want to attend. If you do have an idea, then you can just look up that school. Like say, I think I'm interested in going to Pitt. I can type that in. I see University of Pittsburgh, and it's going to pull up that school's information. So here it talks about the school. It tells you that it's a big school. One other thing that it does do is it gives you other schools that individuals who are interested in Pitt also are interested in. So here, like you see Pitt and Penn State or Boston University. So you might see schools on the right-hand side here that you never even thought about before and kind of take a look into those. It gives you a quick breakdown, and then you could click on it to get more information. So as far as Pitt goes, some information here that might be useful for you to include, maybe their graduation rate. Maybe you talk about how much financial aid. We'll look into where you can find the cost as well in just a minute. If you go over on the side, you can look to see if they have your major. So that's something that's important. Maybe you thought you'd always go to Pitt, but then you click there and you realize they don't have your major. That's going to kind of point you in a different direction. Here under paying, you'll find information about the cost. Where you really want to take a look is under applying, because this is where you're going to find the information about the SAT scores and such. It does tell you how many people applied and then how many were admitted, so you can see kind of what their acceptance rate is. You can see their application fee. And then down here, It talks about what's important from their applicants. So here you can see that GPA is important. Also standardized test scores. So they're going to really take a look at those SAT or ACT scores. So if I want to know what they require, I can go over here and click on SAT or ACT. And then if you already took the SAT or ACT, you can select that option here and actually type in your scores, and it's going to show you how you stack up to the students at Pitt. So here, they're not really giving you a requirement, but they're giving you mid-range test scores. And so you can report that math mid-range test score range of 630 to 740 on your goal sheet. If you want to include the total, you certainly can do that because that is something to think about. Obviously, you're going to be heading to the English section where you're going to be focusing on that content. So don't necessarily just look at this as math only. We're going to look at the big SAT picture. And then you can see here too the range of students. So this is kind of interesting to see where most of the students fall in terms of their SAT range. This is the evidence-based, I'm sorry, this is the math. If I switch over, it'll give me the reading and writing. It just looks like it's taking a minute to load there. So all that information is there. You can also look at information about academics and GPA. So you can put in like how many computer science classes you've taken, how many math courses you've taken, and it'll show you where you stack up among their applicants or among their requirements. So like here you can see that they require that you have at least 3 years of high school math, but they recommend that you have a fourth. So for some of those more selective schools, maybe thinking about, do I have those recommendations as well? And that'll kind of help you build your schedule for your senior year next year. So again, at least 2 schools. If you can't find the information that you need here on this big future site, or if you'd prefer, you certainly can just go to the college's website. Like you could just go to Pitt's website and find this information. I think it's a little bit more compact and easier to find on this big future website. As I said, if you sign in up here with your account, then you can save, like you can add it to my list, and then you'll have all your colleges of interest in one place.